Moving right along. Resolution 2024-01, non-ad valorem assessments.
I can go ahead and read that, Your Honor.
Yes.
Your Honor.
Thank
You're
you.
late.
Appreciate that.
You're welcome. Resolution number 2024-01 by title only for first reading. A resolution of Lake County, Florida relating to the provision of fire rescue, stormwater, and solid waste services in the city, including fire rescue, stormwater, and solid waste non-ad valorem assessments against assessed property located within the city, establishing the respective assessment rates for the fiscal year commencing October 1st, 2024. Approving the non-ad valorem assessment rolls for such fiscal year and directing delivery thereof to the tax collector, providing for severability, and providing an effective date.
Discussion?
Well, would you like me to walk through?
Yes.
Okay. What we're talking about is these are not taxes, these are fees. We collect them on the tax bill, but they're not taxes. The three fees that we're talking about is the garbage fee, the stormwater, and the fire fee. For 2024, 2025, the price for Lake Helen garbage will be $455.16 per single-family resident. I did not increase the stormwater. I left it at $59.51, but I did put a note in there to you that you did pay for a study a couple of years ago involving your stormwater plan, and that study had recommended a $75.42. But on the sheet that I presented to you, I left it at $59.51. Under the Lake Helen residential fire, that rate would be $336.29 for a single-family resident. It will be 81 cents for a non-resident, and that's commercial, and that's based on square footage. So that, would account out to there. And $93.15 for a vacant lot. Again, I hate to reference social media, but there were comments about why we're not being tougher with Volusia County and we need to push back. Well, in order to be tough with someone and push back, you need to have leverage. We're already paying significantly less than any other citizen in Volusia County who is paying for a lot of fire from Volusia County. Volusia County's fire assessment is $510.12. When you pulled out of the fire district because of the millage issue, you went out of paying your fair share. So the county allowed you to go ahead and set your assessment. So the assessment is going up $14 and 14.32% based on valuation. And then there's another $5 increase because the county says Lake Helen over time needs to work their assessment up to equal the county assessment. So anyone who says that $336.29, which is 92 cents a day for 24/7, 365 days a year of fire service and EMS, if 92 cents a day is a problem, and you think the county is going to lower that rate when they're charging unincorporated residents $510? So in theory, the other residents of Volusia County are subsidizing Lake Helen. So your rates are proposed as is, and so if you want a direct negotiation with Volusia County in terms of fire rates, I have no idea where to start because we're not even paying what we're supposed to be paying today.
Thank you.
I would also just point out that what we're doing here is y'all will be approving the rate to give to the property appraiser. The property appraiser will put that on the trim notice, and then the formal adoption will be at a hearing later.
During the budget process.
During the budget process, yes. This is saying this is tentatively the most. I don't think I would, my advice would be that this would be the most you ultimately could adopt. You could go down, you can't go up from what you adopted when you actually have your formal adoption here. So this is not the final reading on this is not the adoption. This is setting the tentative assessment amount to give notice to the property appraiser, so it can be then put on the trim bill with a notice of when we have our hearing. And then that's when we will actually adopt the assessment.
And if I could follow on what Scott says, and if you lower these rates, then you also have to make a decision and that you're taking money out of reserves or you're taking tax dollars to pay for fees, because your rate is $455.16 to Waste Pro. So Waste Pro can tell you you can lower that $200 a year and charge your citizens. Then you're going to have to make up the difference, because it's not a tax. This is a fee for service. And I'm not going to disagree that we pay twice as much in Lake Helen for garbage, but that ship sailed a year ago. Here I've got a 5-year contract, and there's nothing in that contract that you can voidage because you don't like the price.
Thank you.
And now the 92 cents you were talking about is fire department. That was way.
Yeah, the fire department is the fire fees are going up 19.32%. And we're still $173.83 per house below what Volusia County charges their taxpayers for fire service. And someone thinks we can get in the fire business. You don't have a fire station, you don't have equipment, you don't have personnel. And I did some rough numbers today. You're talking about a $7 million investment to get started. And then you will probably have $1.5 million after that annual expense for paying 6 firefighters, a chief, and equipment. And equipment needs to get replaced. So I'm going to tell you right now, this 336.29 generates $473,160. You are getting a full-service fire department at EMS for less than $500,000. You will never get that if you try to pay for that yourself and do it in-house. There's no practical way. Your tax millage rate wouldn't be high enough to cover your other governmental services and pay for fire. Because we can only go 10 mills, and you wouldn't be able to fund it. So if people believe 92 cents a day is ridiculous, then apparently they don't understand the cost of public safety in this country.
And that includes the EMTs as well.
Yes, it is. Yes, it does.
I was on the commission when this came into effect. It was a problem that we'd already set our millage, and then the fire assessment told us that with whatever your millage is, it has to not exceed plus 4. We're going to assess, and it can't exceed 10. And that's where we had to reduce our millage to accommodate fire services. That was it apparently was something that we had not had experience before, because it didn't seem like when I was on the commission that we were prepared for that. And it was Jason Yarborough came up with this hybrid kind of way that we would be out of the district but still be able to get money. And so that kind of gave us a little bit of a pass. But the county, as I understand it, the county basically says, okay, you got away with it that time, but now you're going to have to pay up, and you're going to have to bring yourself up to where everybody else. Eventually, we're going to have to get to that place. But right at this point, we're still ahead of the game, as it was understood by me. Just some clarification of that, I appreciate it.
In fact, Mayor, what I just did for the county to make that 510.12, that millage is 3.84120. You add that to your 6.50 now, and we would be over 10 mills.
So
And we cannot exceed 10 mills, so we
would have to reduce to get under the 10.
yeah.
I make a motion, we accept resolution 2024-01 non-ad valorem assessments as presented.
There was a comment.
Well, get a motion, a second, and then comment.
Okay. Motion and second. Second.
I have a question.
Question.
Could you just elaborate a little bit, just a brief overview of why we didn't go with the study rate for the stormwater assessment and what the thought process is behind that?
Heather, I wasn't here. I'm just going to go on what I was told, is that you had people in the city that stood up and complained about the rate, and the person sat here with a laptop and plugged in different numbers, and somewhere out of the process, 5951 was dead. So there was no scientific reason other than trying to find a
I thought
number.
we all voted
No,
to
they
accept that.
did a scientific
Yeah.
study.
The study says it should be $74.73.
It was based on a growing scale to cover the cost increases of doing the stormwater projects, which we need to get started on.
And we agreed to accept that.
We did that at.
Ivy Pond.
We did that at Ivy Pond.
And then I understand it was reduced at a meeting.
The
7342 was reduced
the
to the
presenter-
5951.
I think,
the presenter at that meeting had it was basically a slideshow, and different numbers were put in, and they kept playing, the commission kept playing with the numbers until we got to that spot. And I think at some point somebody said that we'd never seen that before, it would have been a lot easier if we had this years ago, but evidently here we are now. But that was something that the commission saw those numbers in real time, so to speak, and that's what they decided.
I remember when that happened, and it did get reduced, because everybody complained about it, some of the citizens, and one commissioner said, fine, you want it lowered? Don't complain when you don't get anything done for this.
You paid thousands of dollars for a study.
Yeah.
And that study looks at your overall quality. So at 5951, you were underfunding a problem.
Well, we need to fix that.
And it was supposed to be a percentage each year there.
But you all would have to make that decision. There's no automatic CPI for that. And just knowing the fact that there's already resistance to fire and garbage, which we don't control, I didn't touch the 5951.
So if we accept this tonight, then we can't change that number?
You could lower it, but you can't increase
You
it.
can't increase it.
Unless I withdraw my motion.
That's what-
It hasn't been voted on yet. I withdraw my motion.
Motion withdrawn. Yes,
Well, I'm just rereading, because I made a note about this, and I looked back, so I just pulled it up. So back in, let's start here. September 2023, I have a note that we decided to decrease the proposed 75% increase from the 42 to 45% increase, which made it 59.51 ERU, which is what it states here. But I also have a note that we were going to increase it each year by another, it was over 3 years. So there's another, I think it was 15% that it was supposed to go up this year, was what the thinking was. Obviously can't tell the next commission what to do, but the thinking during that time was that it was going to increase to get us eventually to that 75%. So when the stormwater project starts, or finishes rather, that we would have the funding available at that time, and that the amount of increase was more digestible to our citizens, instead of just, hey, we're going to bump it 75% all in 1 year. So I'd like to see that we do modify this number from the 59 to 51.
The difference between what was recommended from the study and what you currently got would be $15.91 per residential unit annually. $15.91 would be less than 4 cents a day. For 365 days.
If we went 10%, it'd be 65.46. If we went 15%, it'd be 68.41.
Is it 15 over 3 years?
But it needs to increase so that we don't run into the same problem we had where everything didn't have enough money to go into. At least we're not getting hit like Deltona. They're going a flat $125 increase for 24-25 year, every citizen in Deltona, above what their assessment is. But we don't want to be caught without having the funding to get the projects done, and there are a lot of projects and a lot of funds that need to be expended to get the projects done.
I think we're running out of runway of putting things off until.
Yeah, there's a deadline to get these numbers to the tax office for the trim notice.
Yeah.
So we have to make a decision on this.
So I'm just pulling up the stormwater rate study from Raffatellis.
Yeah.
And on page 6 of 10 here, it was suggested that 2024 be 7183. So I say we stick with that plan. That was agreeable to everyone at the time. It still seems reasonable to me. It's only $15 per citizen, well, roughly 16, forgive me. Per citizen, that seems reasonable. Next year, it would look like $107. So it will go up again next year. But eventually, the goal is to get us to that mark so that we can fund these projects that are needing to be done for our stormwater.
And it's also with the backdrop that the city's property values, the county's property values are going up at record. I think we went up 15% on property values. So property values go up, there are other costs that's going to be also, we can't ignore the fact that the property was worth more now than it was 2 years ago. I can speak for relative for that.
But assessments don't go up based on value. Assessments are a flat fee. They're not tied to your valuation. Fire is.
So that's just a feel-good thing. It's a property.
Yeah, but what I'm trying to do is get you a number based on Heather at 7183.
7183. And forwarding it just so it's at the top of your email. I'm sure you already have a copy. But
Okay, that number, if you adopted it 7183, based on the number of lots, would generate $125,175.99 versus the 103,706.29 versus the 131,432.17 if you adopted the 7542. So if your motion tonight was to change the 59 to 7183, then we would just change that column over from 103,706.29. It would be 175.99.
okay, so we need a motion then, I guess.
Yes.
So I make a motion that we accept.
Well,
stormwater.
Oh,
The
we
stormwater
need to
amount.
change it and not modify. I can't make a motion with a modification on this.
Change the stormwater, and then you can make a motion on all the assessments.
Okay. So,
The reason I say that is because you can't modify the others unless you're going to pull it out of reserves.
okay, so then I make a motion that we adjust the stormwater to 7183 ERU. Do I need to give that total again? Is it
Yeah,
not?
125, 175,
175.99.
Second.
Motion and second, do we have a vote? Zone 4,
Yes.
3, 2,
Yes.
1.
Yes.
Agreement.
We should have taken public comment.
We did move around.
Oh, okay. Scott corrected me. Now you can take it on the whole sheet.
Okay.
So then, make a motion to accept resolution 2024-01.
As amended.
Floor of assessment
As amended.
as amended. Thank you.
Second.
Public comment. Public comment. Nancy Weir.
Yeah, I have a two-part question, Nancy Weary. And I should have asked this earlier. On page 48 of the agenda, there was a stormwater total for $44,995.60. Can someone say what that is? Is that our earnings from last year?
Last year's earnings, I don't have an email in front of me. I sent an email out today to a resident. The gross earnings would have been at 103,706. The city doesn't collect that because the tax office takes one takes 55 cents per house, one takes 77 per house. So the tax collector and the tax appraiser take a percentage out by collecting on the bill, and then we budget at 95%. We never budget at 100% of revenue. So, but 5951, Ms. Weary, it would have generated 103,706, and the one that just passed will generate 125,175.99.
Okay, so that, the page 48, it was earlier in the budget, has no bearing on any of this. It was listed stormwater $44,995.60. It has no bearing on any of it. Okay, so next thing is, I would be amiss if I did not mention the woods. We have stormwater. This has been a discussion for over a year now, of some sort of credit to the homeowners there that are being billed, and we're paying. We're not only have we already paid for our stormwater, but we have continued to pay for our stormwater through our HOA fee. So we're basically paying for stormwater 3 times. It has been discussed before as a possible credit to those specific homeowners, and yet it's another one of those things that never gets brought forth or discussed for us. So if we could have that consideration, it would be appreciated. Thank you.
I think I remember this conversation. And I think it was said that because the woods people use all the roads, that you have to pay that because of that. If I remember.
I've never heard that, but I do know, and I know that these are things that will come out down the road. I do know that right now, without permission, the city is draining their stormwater in our retention pond. And that's a whole other issue that will come. At some point, it's gonna have to be addressed. But like I said, we are over 100 homes that are paying 3 times. So if there could be some sort of consideration, or at least a discussion, I think it would be kind.
Thank you. We now have a vote.
what I was telling Jim is, when we were, part of the discussion about that was, I know in the woods enabling documents, there's language in there that says, just because they maintain their own stormwater, they do not get a credit, but it says off taxes for stormwater. Technically, these aren't taxes, these are assessments. I don't know, the point was the intent to say, you don't get a credit from what you owe the city to pay for the stormwater, just because you maintain your own stormwater system. I know it was discussed, I know it was sent for discussion with our bond counsel, Chris Rowe, who's involved in drafting all this stuff. I can't recall what the ultimate resolution was. That may have been a discussion between Chris and Lee Abbott. But I do know their enabling legislation does say there's not going to be a credit for the stormwater fees they pay to the HOA, but I think it specifically refers to a credit on taxes, it doesn't say assessments.
Okay, you voted already? Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? None. So moved. The 11:30 part is 11:30. Yeah, we good. The question was at what point do we extend the meeting? So, and that time has not arrived yet. So I'll be out of here. So we're at the mutual aid.
No, we have one more non-equitable issue.
That other page,
Yeah.
read that.
It's payment of non-ad valorem fees at issuance of certificate of occupancy. This is dealing with new homes that are built and come in. The county closes their tax rolls in December. So if a house closes in January, so January of 2024, they do not go on the tax roll until October of 25. So which means they're not paying garbage, they're not paying fire, they're not paying stormwater. So what we're proposing is that whatever month they're in, there's a sheet done that calculates what their percentage would be each month. Is that we then collect it at CO. So then we've gone ahead, because it could be 22 months before that house, in theory, hits the tax rolls. And we have not been collecting that, which means then residents are subsidizing new homes and new residents, both their garbage service and their fire service. Now, Scott told me that we may need an ordinance to do that, so if the commission accepts the fact that we should be collecting these fees at closing of houses who are not on the tax roll, then we may come back with an ordinance.
We need a consensus or a motion?
Pardon?
Consensus or a motion?
Motion to bring back an ordinance.
Okay, I make a motion that we bring back an ordinance regarding this matter.
Second.
Motion second. All in favor?
Comment?
Public comments? None? Hearing none? Take a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
No opposed? So moved and so passed.
The next one, Mayor, is Resolution 2402.
Mutual aid act. Background, the EM division, the EM division needs a 2004 update, signed statewide mutual aid agreement to be approved and signed and uploaded into the Florida Business. The issue is that the city of Lake Helen needs to adopt a statewide mutual aid act agreement for 2024. Some comment from the administrator, clerk.
Yeah, hang on. Apparently, I have, there's two motions that we have to make, and I guess in my book, I got it in reverse, so let me make sure.
The color pages in the back.
There we go. All right. State Mutual Aid Act Agreement, Volusia County, Lake Helen. It would be Resolution 202403. The Emergency Management Division needs a 2024 updated signed State Mutual Aid Act Agreement approved and signed by the City Commission. That would be uploaded to the state of Florida DEMS system. So we need to adopt that, and what that resolution is Scott's got it, if you want to read. I think this is that one.
Resolution number 2024-03, whereas the State of Florida Emergency Management Act, Chapter 252, authorizes the state and its political subdivisions to provide emergency aid and assistance in the event of a disaster or emergency, and whereas the statute also authorizes the state to coordinate provisions of any equipment, services, and facilities organized by the state for its political subdivisions for use in the affected area upon the request of the newly constituted authority of the state, and whereas the resolution authorizes the request, provision, and receipt of interjurisdictional mutual aid assistance in accordance with the Emergency Management Act, Chapter 252, among political subdivisions within the state.
And the reason we have to have that, because then it would become eligible for mutual aid and assistance from the state during the declared disaster.
Any comments?
What's the number of that resolution?
2024-03.
03?
Oh, 03.
It's under attachments, but I couldn't find it.
It's in the very,
Yes, the
it's in the very last page of the packet. It should be on the front.
May I make a motion
So
that we
same.
accept ordinance 2024-03?
Second.
Motion. Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Like sign.
Just, mine says sample resolution, it doesn't say resolution.
It's without the 203.
Yeah, we put the number in.
So it's 03.
Sorry.
224-03.
Yes.
Okay.
And I know you voted, but I'm going to check for the public comment.
There is none to be spoken to. So motion moved, and all in favor? Aye. Motion approved. Moving ahead.
The next item that also ties into hurricane preparation and FEMA is Resolution 2024-02, to piggyback Volusia County vendors for hurricane services.
Resolution 2024-02, the resolution of the City of Lake Helen, Volusia County Board, pursuant to Section 32.08.00 of the city's code of ordinances, approving contract awarded by Volusia County for monitoring services and debris removal services for the 2024 hurricane season, providing for severability and providing for effectiveness.
The effect of approving this resolution is that if we are hit by a hurricane this season, and I noticed yesterday on the news that the Colorado State that does the hurricane predictions has increased their prediction for a number of storms and hurricanes. But this would allow the city to piggyback off of vendors that have already gone through the public procurement process with FEMA. And we would not be in the same situation we are now, where we're still trying to see if we can get money back from FEMA and the So we're trying to put ourselves in a position so that, now, you don't want to adopt and you want to piggyback, you want to use your own vendors, you can do that, but make the decision in that you're not going to go that.
That's right.
Okay.
I make a motion to approve resolution 2024-02 to utilize county approved vendors for hurricane services.
Second.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Any discussion?
Any comment?
Comment? Your comment?
Let's talk about this before we vote. I didn't vote,
Sorry.
so you know.
Oh, you need-
I think this, I need a little more clarification. So this means that we will not be proceeding with what we've historically done after hurricanes, which is we have our vendors that are in town that typically come out in full force in Lake Helen, good fashion, and get us all cleaned up. We will not be doing that anymore. We'll be waiting at the mercy of Volusia County.
Well, yes.
I understand that.
We can do
Yes.
that.
And
We can do that, but we won't get any money from FEMA.
so I think we're looking right now for 183,000
Yeah.
from FEMA, so.
And that doesn't even
And
count.
that's because we didn't follow the process.
Okay,
So you can get the town cleaned up and you can ignore FEMA, and that's okay, and you can do that out of your pocket.
but it's leading into my next question because it was my understanding that we go through FROM and do all of that preparation, which outlines our internal procedures to FEMA so that we can do that. So that we can have our big dogs come out and all of the other wonderful people that do it. But that was my understanding, that was the direction that we were headed with FROC. So maybe I've misunderstood.
No, even with FROG, we would have to go out and bid for all of those services. We just can't get local companies and say, do that. In order for FEMA to reimburse us, they want to show, when did you bid it? Where did your score sheet, and how did you pick the company?
FEMA training.
Rick, doesn't say something.
We still have the ability the first 24 to 72 hours. Volunteers can go out and clean it up. It's the pickup of the debris that we're going to have piggyback if we can't get anybody. They can still all go out and help us, we can get the town clean, because that's a volunteer basis. It's only on the debris pickup that we're going to be doing, so that can be picked up. But we can go either way. But that covers you in case we can't get that, you can go on that, that's why.
Right, but I think maybe if I'm not understanding, if we put it out to bid for FROC and we have 3 local vendors that all bid on it, and one of them is the lowest, we use them, we wouldn't have to use Volusia County.
They have to be FEMA certified. When we put out for bid, it has to be FEMA certified people.
Each one of the vendors would have to go out and get their vehicles and their people certified through FEMA, meeting their requirements.
And meet all of their requirements, which is a lot.
And Heather, what I was told in the previous was that the decision was made that it was less expensive to do it in-house. And yes, it would be, but the difference is we're out $180,000, still trying to backtrack and get that money from FEMA. So yes, the comment would be that the Volusia vendor might have been more expensive, but you're going to get reimbursed for using that vendor.
Right.
We may not get reimbursed for the quality.
No, I understand the problem. I just wanted to make sure that I was clear because I know they have to be FEMA certified and all of that. I just wanted to make sure that if we had local vendors, we were giving priority to them, or not priority, but the option to bid through FROC instead of just, it kind of feels to me like we're putting the cart in front of the horse here.
Well,
Because
fine.
we're saying we want FROC, but then we're also going to piggyback off of Volusia County.
Well, that would still be under FROC.
So we have both options then?
This is
Well,
part of
I
that.
think, yeah, I think what Rick was suggesting is that our local people can still come out and clear up our streets and everything else. We just will not dispose of the debris anymore. The county will come in and do the monitoring of the trucks and the hauling off of the debris. So we can still have local people hired in to clean up the streets, to get the streets open.
But
And-
they can be hired in to do that, you just know that you're not getting any of that refund, is all.
Yeah.
That's, it is.
And the other thing is-
The other thing, Commissioner, is the fact that we're on July 11th to go through a bid process and get those companies. One, if they would even bid, because they may not want to go through the FEMA restrictions. This covers us for this hurricane season.
Okay, I don't think I'm asking my question clearly though, so maybe, can I try again? I apologize. Obviously, and maybe my brain's not firing on all circuits. Okay, so what I thought the direction you were going was AFRA, and I understand this is all part of that. But I thought we were putting it out to bid with FEMA approved people. And this way feels that we're kind of circumnavigating that. We're just saying, we're not gonna put it to bid, we're just gonna use the vendors. Am I understanding
No,
that?
it's-
Or we have both of the options
What
to
the,
put it to bid or use the
What,
piggyback.
what the FROC would allow us to be able to be, there's certain stages of FROC and a certain percentage of whatever the storm damages creates. That because you've been certified through the FROC, there's a certain percentage of it that all automatically comes.
It's
to us.
guaranteed.
So you get a guarantee that but without FROC, and you have to follow through with your own self, then whatever we don't do right and it gets messed up, then the money might wind up, we're going to have to pay for it anyway. So FROC just gives us it's like having a deductible on your insurance. Okay, if you're qualified for a certain percentage of it, when the storm hits, a certain percentage of it, you're automatically going to get it. Because if that's, am I somewhere interpreting that correctly?
Yeah, I mean, you're never getting 100% from FEMA, but you're looking usually about 80%.
And that's what you got all of the points that they're
If you,
asking. And that's why we hired this person who.
which is going through that entire FROC thing. There was a Zoom call today with them, and I got the email confirming we're in the process, we're on the list, we're doing everything that we need to do to get that in place. But that won't cover us if a storm hits 2 weeks, 3 weeks, or in August. I mean, this covers us.
But moving forward with this does not allow us the opportunity to pick a vendor through the process. Okay.
Once we get out of this hurricane season, we can then do our own bids.
I just wanted to make sure I
As
understood.
long as they meet the FROC and the FEMA.
And I think we were kind of late for for this season. So we're actually doing it for the next, is it the storm of the season?
Season, we're in this season.
Yeah, that's what I was looking at the fact that
We were-
when we didn't have the state mutual aid and we didn't have anything in place for this,
We
we're sitting here
debating
exposed.
whether or not we wanted AFROC last year. We missed the deadline. So now we kind of figured that we need to get on board with this. And so now we're at least we'll take care next year and then we'll go through this process.
We are approved for 20% coverage this year.
Yeah.
Yeah. Next year, we're hoping to get them the higher level. But we're also, August, September, and October are your highest months of potential having a hurricane hit Florida. So to go out for the bid process to get the bids from the people who have been certified by FEMA would probably take longer than that. And what would we do if we didn't have somebody there to handle it for us right then and there? I think this is going to help us get through this year, and next year we can maybe talk about the earlier part of spring going out for the bids for the people that do it to get it done before the season starts.
Yeah, I'm not opposed to it, I just wanted to make sure I understood the process clearly.
Piggyback.
She had to go home.
Her husband had an injury, he fell, she had the nurse, and the nurse is kind of like a.
Then in that case, I make a motion that we excuse Linda Donato from the absence from the rest of the meeting.
What do we have to do?
Walk out.
No, because you gotta maintain a certain percentage of the time.
We have a quorum. We have a quorum.
Quorum, that's the percentage.
But then we're losing one person.
So we still got the quorum.
I know we still have the quorum, but in our guidelines, there's a section in there that we approve if a member is absent, so that it doesn't count against them. Because you have to, I think if you miss 3 meetings, you're removed from office.
Well, that's, yeah, it's not
But
this.
she didn't miss a meeting.
I know, but still,
And when we put
Do we need to do that,
the
Scott?
question that was asked to
I
me
don't know if
earlier.
you need to do it,
is
it can't hurt to do it.
All right.
I mean,
The question was asked to me earlier is, what is the timetable for when you must have a quorum to either keep the meeting going past a certain period of time? And that period of time was 11:30. When we made that motion and it passed, it didn't get passed until the next meeting. So 11:30, I got informed out. So
Yeah, you did.
I did.
I know you got it.
So I'm just saying, Roger, it's not, she's not technically absent, but she's home. She had to leave. Anyway, we're moving down to the
Did we have a motion?
motion and a
Second.
second.
Yeah, we
We did that, right? Yeah, we did.
No comments.
Huh?
And no comment.
Nobody commented.
There's no comments. No comments.
I made the
He made a
motion,
motion. I seconded it.
Charlie seconded, and everybody voted for it.
Right.
That's what's it.
Because I made,
Somewhere in that,
I just made,
came up.
I just made,
It must be getting
I just made the
late.
clarification that she had left, so that was already happening.
Okay.
We're now down to the quasi judicial hearing. Public work, oh, it's getting all you. Public works, thank you.
That's Charlie Rodriguez.
Should be me, right?
It's only me.
I only have 2 things. During the 4th of July, we had a hole open up between Blake Park Pavilion and Blake Park Playground. We went out there and discovered it was the old dry well from the previous pavilion. I think Charlene remembers the building being there back there. It was the dry well from the septic tank there. We proceeded, we barricaded it off, and we crushed it in and filled it all in, so it's taken care of. If anybody asks, that's what it was. Second thing is, I wanted to wait till the budget, but unfortunately, the air conditioner, one of the 5 tons went out back. We're running on 1 5-ton air, we're supposed to have 10 in here. And I was trying to hold off, but it's so hot out, I don't think the other one's gonna hold out. So I'm gonna go for estimates on the estimates and come back to you next month to go ahead and put in the 2 air conditioners in here. Otherwise, you might not be able to the whole meeting.
In here?
Yeah, the 2 5-tons, we run 10 tons in here, we're on 5.
no means of option.
And, so I'm just letting you know, I'm gonna bring back the estimates next month. And it's not budgeted, but we have to put the air if you wanna have the meeting. Okay? Yes. Yes. We're looking at about 20 grand, for close to 20 grand for 2 units.
For 2?
For 2,
I
5
got
tons.
20 grand for one.
Yeah.
One?
We'll find out. These are
You're gonna
5
make
tons.
all the money.
Can I come if I want?
We've already been now.
Is there anything else?
Regulatory changes.
Well, when you call, they need to
They're
return.
gonna go up in price and then.
Yes, and we're gonna add more SEER, so the actual units are gonna be more energy efficient. And you can do one, but if you do, the new SEER is gonna be, it's not recommended at all, because that one probably as well, right after we put this one in.
How old are they?
They're old, because they were on our program before. These are the last ones that haven't been changed out, and one at City Hall, the rest are within 10 years or less. So we'll come back with these on our CIP plan and change out the rest of them, but one at a time is not bad, but because there's 2 tied in, they have to be replaced as a unit.
I'd be curious to see the 24 series.
I'll get all the prices and what we'll do,
That's-
Jim,
I
I'll give
think
them to Jim,
that's
and Jim can give them to you ahead of time if you want.
Or the option is no
That's because
AC.
there's regulatory changes and not
No
only
AC, no
can,
meeting.
the evolution the new refrigerant that's coming out.
Yeah.
It can use either refrigerant. I can't remember, it's like AL2 or something like that. That'll be, it could switch over to that, so it would make sense to.
We were
check
gonna
into
have
that.
this compressor fixed, it's got a lock compressor, but by the time you buy the new R22, everything to do it, you're almost at 1 unit. Just for the cost of trying to repair that, it may not even last anyway. So every recommendation from DG Meyer, who's been doing our work since before I came here, and all the rest of them is replace both units. I think one guy said there's actually a law you have to do both when they were tied in, or something like that. It may be an AC code or
So I
something.
know the better to get a free AC unit installed.
Well,
That's an energy.
if we do none, it might shorten the.
Yeah, you will not survive at all, because the little units can't do it. Yeah. Anyway, that's it. Do you have anything else?
No?
That's cool. Yeah.
Chief?
Nothing to report.
Nothing for the report? Richard? Private judicial hearing, is anyone in that ex parte communications with the address? 360 South Lake?
No.
Okay, Scott? Where we're at?
You're good.
Okay. Motion or discussion?
Make a motion to approve certificate of appropriateness for 360 South Lakeview.
Motion and second?
Second.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passed. Down to, let's go home, the comments? Right. Oh, there's nobody here? There's 3 people that were here, they were for the strawberry festival. They left.
You have a yellow speaker card
Oh,
for
I'm
Dave.
sorry. They were here. Ron left, Tam Santos, Richard Buckler, David Rogers. I'm sorry, Dave.
Yeah.
Oh, yes, this, very important.
Yeah. Dave Rogers, 259 West Main. So, just moved here about a year ago, great place. Talked to a couple of residents in the area, actually more than a few, talking about, hey, what can we do as a community to improve Lake Helen without asking the city to fund anything. It would be private funding, 100%. So as you probably know, pickleball's a big popular sport right now, and there's not a lot of courts. There's none in Lake Helen. So what we're proposing is to take one of the tennis courts, the court on the east side. It really doesn't matter which one. I see more people. If I see anybody playing tennis, I see them playing on the west court, which is the court closer to the police station. So we would take that court, we would repair the cracks, because there's numerous cracks in that court with an acrylic binder that would repair that to resurface the courts for $10,000 to $15,000. So that's unaffordable, because our funding, private funding right now is at $3,500 to $4,000 is what I've raised just with residents in Lake Helen that are willing to fund that for private court or for public, pickleball courts. So we would seal those cracks, we would paint the one side court, we would put 4 temporary nets up. It would be 4 pickleball courts, 2 on each side. We would leave the tennis net in the middle, so you wouldn't be disturbing that. If we ever wanted it to go back to tennis courts, we would paint that court, we would draw out the lines, either with tape or permanent paint, that we have vendors that have volunteered their services to do. Ricky would be involved to make sure everything was done right, that there were no problems, no big issues within the courts. Those temporary nets are about $250 to $300 each. They would be left at the courts. So that's all we would do, would be improving one of those courts and providing lines with nets and filling the cracks, all private funding. And I talked to Jim and Roxanne about it just to make sure of the process. And they said, we need to come before you, present our idea, and make sure you approve it. My wife's a teacher at Ivy Pond, so they would be open, obviously, to the Ivy Pond students as well. So this would be used by multiple people in Lake Helen. And we think it would be a big hit because you're talking about at least 16 people able to play at one time on those courts. So the residents would like it. All private funding, make sure it's done the right way by Ricky Mullins, and I think it would be a win for everybody. So it would be our dime, our time, and Ricky checks the box. So that's our proposal.
You guys at the basketball courts?
You know what, Mayor? You guys are sitting there, we could look at raising some private funding for that too. I don't know if we can get to 40,000, but we could certainly put a dent in what you guys are proposing.
How many pickleball courts do you think fit on half of the tennis courts?
So you would take one tennis court and you could put 4 pickleball courts. If you go to Victoria Park, they do that. They take.
I've seen the pickleball.
Yeah, so that's pretty much exactly what we would do. It'd be 2 pickleball courts on each side, 4 total on 1 court.
And what would you put up if somebody's playing tennis or somebody playing pickleball? What's there to stop from them interfering with each other?
Well, what's nice about your courts, there's a pretty big buffer. You have that bench and you have the lights, so you have more than enough room. So it's probably like even with the court and providing about 6 feet on each side, you'd still have like a 10-foot buffer between the tennis courts. So it's not like you'd be running into each other at all.
Have you seen the pickleball court?
And, well, this isn't going to include the new power pickleball that's coming out. It's a different ball that you can hit harder, different paddle.
No, this is regulation pickleball with a wiffle ball, essentially using this.
Have you seen the one in the
Victoria Park?
Victoria Park? No, the one in our the village. The village. We have a pickleball court in the village, no?
They converted their tennis ball court.
Yes. I would take a ride over to the village. You know the village? Because so living.
Oh, yeah, across Cravat.
Right.
Yeah.
They have a court over there. I haven't been there, but it might be interesting. That's a good.
Is it just
For
their residents?
Now we got to approve them using their private funds on public property.
It'd be
Yeah.
similar to the batting cage thing that you approved.
It's tremendous. Thank you for your generosity in organizing this. I think it's amazing that we have this outpouring of love in our community. I'd like to make a motion that we direct staff to work with you to bring a plan for us so we can approve it.
Second.
You want to come back?
You want me to come back? I submitted plans already to Jim as far as the outline and the buffers and the whole thing.
As long as you'll keep the concept, because the batting cages will come back.
Right, good point.
So,
Okay, then, yeah, absolutely,
Direct
motion
staff.
to move forward. It's tremendous, thank you.
I mean, if you approve, we'd actually like to start this weekend.
yeah, that's a little,
What's that?
that might be a little bit.
Dave, you have a striking person?
We were gonna actually put tape like Victoria.
Let me make a phone call. Mr. Beckman owns a big striking company.
Yeah.
He likes to give every once in a while. I can ask him if he get it ready. He may come out and donate the striking. He owns Extreme Striking.
Okay.
And he's done stuff for Lake Elm for free before, like test stuff out here for us. I can reach out to him so we can make it a permanent there. I was gonna tell you also, we put in, I believe Jim and I put in, I'm pretty sure we put in this year's budget or the CIP, it's gonna be $30,000 to resurface, just resurface the tennis courts. I had Mr. Medley come out and take a look at them, so, and that was also include pickleball, striking and everything, so if we could get that done, that would save extreme lot amount of money there on that. And I've been approached by dozens of people to put pickleball in. So it would be a great thing to have there.
I second. You got it. I gave you the hammer.
I said it before you gave me the hammer.
It's so great for our new year, who wants to second? It's amazing.
Okay.
Let's vote.
Your vote, all in favor?
Aye.
All in favor, has it. Thank you very much, Dave. Get out of it.
It seems like every time we turn around, there's a citizens group that's complaining about work that's being done by another citizen, and back and forth, and they try to discredit some of the good that is being done. What I'm talking about is the little pantry that's outside City Hall. There was comments made that there's been expired food put in there, and it's been unsightly and unkept and everything else. Well, the error that's made on that is food no longer has an expiration date on it. It has used best by dates. The actual expiration dates is set by the FDA, which is usually anywhere from a year to 18 months or more after the use by date. The use by date is if you want to taste it in its freshest form. After that date, the taste starts deteriorating. So, there's also been talk about, there's been no control over it, and I wish the people were here so they can answer my question, but if they're going to complain about something and take pictures of something, show some proof that you're not the one that's putting it in there than taking a picture just to gripe about it. Because there's no proof that that has occurred. Either way, now I know that Nancy has worked hard out there. She's taking care of restocking it, making sure it's cleaned up, cleaning up the area around it. And what I would like from people, instead of griping and complaining about what's being done, give some idea about what can be done to improve it. For an example, on this issue, talking about how hot the food pantry gets. Hey, can the city put in a tree or some large bush there to provide some shade for the food pantry so it doesn't get so hot in there? That would be an improvement to the city, instead of always being negative. So, excuse my French or English or whatever you want to call it, let's stop the damn hate and get on with the important city business.
Thank you.
And
I
on a
have
good
one,
point,
okay, you're done, I mean, you're not done, so go ahead.
July 27th is Career War Veterans Day. If anybody's in the Coast Guard, my nephew is. August 4th is Coast Guard birthday. And for the police department and the city, August 6th is National Night Out. This promotes the community police camaraderie. So if the city wants to, last year, I think we did it the first time last year. If the city wants to get involved in it this year to promote this National Night Out for the community, it would be an added thing. I know the League of Better Living was highly involved in it, the police department was involved in it, so. That's all I got, thank you.
I got two things. I just want to make a comment on what he said. My only concern with the pantry, because I don't care, but every time something happens, some little thing happens, it takes hours and hours of staff time to deal with it. Because it is on city property, it does go through the commissioner, through the city, of everything that has to be dealt with. And the pantry is great, and I don't have a problem with it. I just don't understand why we couldn't move it to a church property or something someplace.
May I speak on it?
I don't care.
So, it was placed there because of the area. We have cameras, it's convenient, everybody knows who drives up, who leaves. As far as the heat, I'm sure staff knows I'm there. Sometimes I'm there at 6:30 in the morning. Sometimes I see you guys coming in at 8:15, 8:30, and I'm on my way out. I clean it, I maintain it, I stock it. And I know that I'm not the only one in this city. I know that when we're concerned about temperature, most of the time it's empty. You guys will know. And if there's a problem, I have reached out to Mr. Gleason several times and asked him to please contact me for anything regarding the pantry. I am open, have my cell phone number. I think everybody has it, an email, cell phone number. You can contact me. If I can't make it up there, somebody will. And if there's any issues, expired food, I appreciate what you said about Best Buy dates, but I will tell you, I have a limit for that, and I have and I will remove foods that are expired. If I won't feed it to my family, I don't want anybody else to get it. So
I don't have a problem with any of that. My problem is that whenever something, like you say, you take care of it and everything, but then when something happens,
what has happened?
the grass got cut, that took a whole day practically of city employees' day.
Why?
Answering emails, records requests, I don't know.
Records request about what?
I don't know, I'm just saying. There
Why did
had-
a records request? Because it got mowed? No.
There was a very lengthy email that Jim had to spend a long time answering questions on and everything.
I
And there
literally
were-
sent him a statement.
Let me just, right now, this part of the commission is the commission statement, so
Okay,
kind of
that's fine.
minimize the back and forth. Just say what you gotta say, and thank you, Nancy.
If y'all need me, just let me know.
Mayor, I'd like to make a comment. There was a snide remark made there, with staff showing up at 8:15 and 8:30. Ms. Weary doesn't know that many times staff works till 5:30 and 6 o'clock. So I don't appreciate an insinuation that we don't show up and work on time.
There was no insinuation. My point was I'm here early.
I got one more thing. I am sick of
She said she's got.
Well, no, the same lady who called me a hypocrite on Facebook, so this is, so we can talk about conduct.
Okay, I for one, and I don't know about the rest of y'all, I am sick to death of meeting here in these damn fold-up, uncomfortable chairs, and I would appreciate it if we could move to the floor so that we have more space, add another table, get us some decent chairs that we can sit in, because when we have to sit here for 5, 6, 7 hours at a meeting, I don't know about y'all, but it kills my body. I can barely move the next day because I have degenerative disc in my back. But anyways, I wouldn't be opposed to moving it to the back and flipping everything. But these chairs, if we can squeeze chairs in up here, that's fine. But I don't need anything fancy, even with those stupid little chairs in your office are fine. But this is ridiculous. And we've been here for a long time when it was supposed to be temporary, and I don't see any end to this anytime soon. So that's just me, but I really would like to see something done about this. When we first came here, the very first couple of meetings, we were on the floor, and we did have a little room. I got videos and pictures of it. There was a couple commissioners that said, "I want to get on the stage." So, anyways.
Thank you. The last word I'll have is I really appreciated the support that the Mid-Florida Jeep Club provided Roger, myself. We had more if there would have been more, more things. But the Florida Jeep Club has been an asset to both the community as well as the Boys and Girls Club. As a matter of fact, that's why they renamed the club after the Florida, Mid-Florida Jeep Club. Told me that there were 48 Jeeps in the parade, which is probably a record. So this is another example of a partnership between private partnership and the community, because not only do they provide Boys and Girls Club with a lot of support, I think the numbers are in the 6 figures as to what that club has provided for our Boys and Girls Club. It's not just Lake Kelly, because there are over eight different clubs that we go to. So again, I can't say enough for it. I'm just grateful that they were able to come to our aid and also at the same time come to the city. And we did put in a great show. Had a lot of people talking about the parade, the fireworks. I mean, it was right in between the rain, and I give credit to the pyrotechnic, whatever his name was. He called me in between the rain to let us know that, to get confirmation that we were going to have it, and said, weather-wise, we're good. So that professionalism and the attention to details that helped this whole 4th of July be something. And, you know, I said I wasn't going to do this, but I am going to do this. Reenact. You know, the 4th of July, of course, we all know what that was about. There's a couple of things that caught my attention that was said. We in America do not have a government of the majority. We have a government by the majority of people who participate. That was Thomas Jefferson. They who came and gave up essential liberty to obtain a little temporary safety deserve neither liberty or safety. Last one. The Constitution of the government, once hanged from freedom, can never be restored. Liberty, once it's lost forever. So we celebrate this little book and what it stands for. It's not a byproduct of fireworks alone, but it stood for the purpose of why this country is the greatest country in the world. And we didn't get this way by fighting with each other. So we just need to remember where we are in this world. And I'm just, I can't say enough about being proud to be the mayor of this city, and I represent this city every place I go. And I'm gonna let you know, people are taking notice of our city. And not just the negative stuff. Not everybody reads the Facebook page, but we do get enough positive, we do get enough positive stories about us. And I think we should, between now and the next meeting, to see how many more positive things that we can do. Just this week alone, there's a Catalyst. The Catalyst is a mentoring program, and they asked me to speak to their groups over in Deltona High School, about 40 kids. I went to DeLand High School, about another 40 kids. I went to Mainland High School, and they were just interested to know, you're the mayor of Lake Helen, tell us about Lake Helen. So I'm a representative of the city, and I think each one of us up here should also be representatives of the city. And thank you, Roger, for putting the flag up in Super Memorial. The flag was tatted, and you ever been in uniform? You see a tatted flag?
I gave it to Keith.
Well,
I gave it to Paulette. I gave it to Keith.
Well, I wish you would have put it up, because I wanted to add that picture. Because what Roger did was get a flag that once hung at the White House and had a certificate or seal or whatever, and he donated it to the Super Memorial. And I think they were going back and forth about whether or not they should put up the cotton flag or with the flag. But that flag is there now, and I do appreciate it. And I think we ought to just give Roger a hand, because he made it happen.
I made a suggestion to Keith that maybe you put it up at the church and put the
sign.
all-weather flag up at the cemeteries. I don't know which way he went.
He went with the cotton flag. That being said, any other